So for the bow, let's hold it in our left hand and go over the parts of the bow. This is called the frog, where we hold it. The silver part is called the clip. This is called the screw, and it controls the tension in the horsehair and the stick. If you turn the screw counterclockwise, you will feel the tension release in the stick and see it release in the horsehair as it becomes loose. This is important when you put your violin away to let the stick rest overnight or when you're not playing. When you're ready to play, turn the screw clockwise and you should feel the stick tighten and see the horsehair tighten. So you don't want to turn it so much that you lose the bend in the stick. It's very important that it always have a little bit of give so that it can receive the communication from your hand about tone production. This is the grip, and on your bow, the grip may take up the whole space, or you may have a bow like mine that also has a wrapping. This is the tip, and this is the ivory, although if you have a modern bow, it is made of plastic rather than ivory. So let's go ahead and put the bow back in our left hand and shake out the right hand so it's nice and relaxed. To find our bow hold, we're going to plop it down on the top of the stick at the frog. Notice I'm not by the screw at all. I'm over the frog even with my pinky. Now I'm going to come under with my thumb and make a bump on the clip, and I'm going to put my pinky on top of the stick. Now when I let go, it means that all of the weight of the bow is going to be balanced by my bow hold. So don't be surprised if yours falls the first few times you do this. Also, don't be surprised if your pinky falls as it gets used to balancing the weight of the bow. So take the bow back in your left hand, shake out your right hand, and reset. Plop it down, put your pinky and your thumb, and let go. Was that better? Shake out and do it again. As you get used to this, the next step is to hold it longer and longer so that you're building up strength in your pinky and your bow and your thumb. Take a moment to check your arm. Make sure it's just falling down gracefully from your bow hold. It's not popping up and it's not drooping. It should look similar to if you were going to drink some coffee. So back into the left hand, shake out the right hand, plop it down, add your pinky and your thumb, check your elbow, also check your shoulder and make sure it's not popping up. Go ahead and let go with that left hand and see how long you can hold it before the pinky falls or the thumb slips. So at this point, you're going to want to hit pause and make about 10 more bow holds so it starts to feel comfortable and you start to feel confident in the strength of your hand to hold the bow like this. Welcome back. Now we're going to do the violin. So we're going to start with the violin parts, just like we did with the bow. It's very similar to a body. It has a scroll like a head, a neck, and shoulders. These are the tuning pegs. You'll see that the strings are wrapped around them, so there's one for each string. This is the fingerboard where we play the notes. The strings go from high on the E to lower on the A, lower on the D, and lowest on the G. You'll notice that the E string is the thinnest and the G string is the thickest. This is the bridge, which lifts the strings off the fingerboard. These are the F holes where the sound comes out. These are the tuners, the fine tuners, and there's also one for each string. So we use these more often for small adjustments, and the pegs are for when your violin goes very out of tune. I would not recommend using the pegs until you're more adept at tuning, as it's quite easy to break a string accidentally. Now we have the chin rest, which I also call a jaw rest because it's more likely that your jaw ends up resting there than your actual chin. And this can be off to the side. It can also go over your tailpiece, which is this black piece right here. So as you start to learn to play the violin, you might decide that you prefer a traditional chin rest, or if you're left eye dominant or uncomfortable, you may opt for a chin rest that goes over the tailpiece. Here we have the button that has a rope going around it that is attached to the tailpiece. So this is the conclusion of the tension on the strings that goes from the peg over the bridge and to the button. Please note that the bridge is not glued in place and never should be. It is simply held in place by the tension of the strings. Now if you look inside your violin through the F-holes, you'll see a little stick in there that's called the sound post. It's very important that the sound post always stay upright, which is also accomplished by the tension of the strings on the bridge. It is not held in place by glue. So if your bridge should fall over, you want to replace it right away and put it back with the tight tension of the strings, because if the bridge is gone for too long, if there's no tension here, then there's nothing holding the sound post up and it will eventually fall over, which can lead to a costly repair and is not something you can do yourself. This is the front of the violin. These are the sides. The black marking around the edge is the purfling, and this is the back. I have a shoulder rest on the back of my instrument to help me hold my violin. You might have a sponge, you might have a handkerchief, but I do recommend that you have something. If for no other reason than the back can be very slippery on your clothing, and particularly in the beginning, having a little bit of help here will make it easier. This is a coon. I like it because it's fairly adjustable and it's shaped for the contour of the shoulder. To place it, you simply slide it from the bottom of the instrument. I generally like it so that it is straight across from one side to the other. If you don't have one, they're easily available online at a variety of music supply shops. So to put the violin up, we're going to start in rest position. The violin is under my right arm and my right arm is behind that bridge. The bridge is quite fragile, so we want to make sure we don't put our arm over it. Then I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to put it on the shoulder. And then I'm going to come from above, like I'm shaving off my ear. And I'm going to drop the violin onto my shoulder, not my chest, but my shoulder. I'm going to turn my nose towards the scroll and drop my head. So my jaw and a little bit of my chin is in the chin rest. I don't want to turn it all the way so my chin is in the chin rest. You can see that that really causes strain in my neck. So if it doesn't feel right, I can look forward. I can turn my nose again and drop again. Now I want to be standing over carpet and let go with my left hand and see if I can hold it just with my head. It's very important that the hand be free to move when we play the violin, so the hand does not hold the violin. Go ahead and put your hand back on the shoulder, put your violin back in rest position and shake out. Let's do that again. Left hand on the shoulder, drop it from above, find that sweet spot where the violin balances on the shoulder, turn your head, drop your nose, and let go. And just like the bow, you're going to want to repeat this a lot. Hand on the shoulder, drop from above, find the balance, turn your nose, drop your head, and remove your hand. And as you do these repetitions, challenge yourself to hold the violin there longer and longer so that you develop confidence and strength. Put your violin back in rest position. Go ahead and hit pause and do that at least 10 more times. Welcome back. Now, I know you're dying to hear the way your violin sounds, but we're not ready to use the bow yet. So we're going to do what's called pizzicato. Go ahead and put your violin back up. Take your right hand and anchor your thumb on the side, that corner of the fingerboard. Take your pointer finger and place it on the highest string, the E string. Orient your whole hand towards the violin. Drop your elbow so you're comfortable and relaxed. And we're going to pluck the E string twice like this. Your turn. Good. Now go over to the A string and do the same thing. Your turn. Good. Now go to the D string. Your turn. And the G string. Notice that my elbow is still not popping up. I'm still relaxed. And I'm taking my whole hand with me from string to string. My turn. Your turn. Good. Let's go back. G again. My turn. Your turn. My turn. Listen to the resonance as I finish the notes. Your turn. So make sure you're letting the strings ring when you're done. Your turn. And my turn. Your turn. Notice how my elbow is lower and still relaxed. So as I'm going to the lower string, my elbow is lifting higher, but it's not popping up ever to be equal with my hand. So now listen to all of the strings. As you take your turn, make sure you're using the fleshy part of your finger rather than the nail, which creates an unpleasant metallic sound. And you can pull quite firmly without breaking the string. So go ahead and hit pause and practice that pizzicato piece a few times to get accustomed to the string changing and the sound of your violin. Welcome back. So at this point, your best approach is to practice for short amounts of time as frequently as you can. You need a lot of repetition on that bow hold and on the violin hold, and to get used to this basic position before we start putting the bow on the string. So I will see you in the next video when you have made at least 100 bow holds. Put your violin up at least 100 times and practiced our pizzicato song at least 50 times. Happy practicing!